Um, so how indirect evaporative cooling works? It's a lecture we want to talk about today. And let's go about what we'll include for these lectures. What are the directive uh, evaporative coolers? And how does direct evaporative coolers work? And then number two, indirect evaporative cooling versus the direct evaporative cooling, and then pros and cons. Okay, let's moving on to next one. So as you can see, the photo on the left, hot air, it's from the server. It's captured in the hot aisles and then brought into the interactive coolers, evaporate cooler on the top, and then where it traveled through the primary side of the heat exchangers, uh, where it gave up its heat to the secondary part, and then the cold air is sent back to the data center through underfloor distribution systems, and then the cold air exit through the floor grills and then travel back into the server rack, and then where it pick up the heat of the server and then begin with the cycle again. So the cycle going from the rack, coming up, then going down, and then coming up again. So that's the first full cycle. It's a counterclockwise cycles. Okay, let's moving on to now on the secondary side of the indirect evaporative coolers. Heat exchangers. So there are fan you can see here mounted on the top of the unit, and then that pulls out outside air through the heat exchangers as water is then trickling down, causing the air to evaporate it and absorb heat through the wall of the heat exchangers. You can see they're mostly doing the heat convections. So at the top of at the top, you can see on the top right of the photos. So let's say, what if you don't have the enough capacity? So if we don't have the indirect evaporated, uh, if the let's say if the indirect evaporative process cannot meet the load because I'm favorable outdoor ambient, a secondary phase of the cooling can be added. So you can add it, you can see here. So this secondary cooling can be achieved by using a DX or chill water coil. Okay, so next moving on to the next one. So you normally will ask, okay, which one should we choose? Indirect evaporative cooling versus direct evaporative cooling, pros and cons. So let's talk about indirect evaporative cooling at the left side of the chart of the photo of the, so pros, so maintain low humidities. So indirect evaporative cooling uses heat exchangers to cool the air without adding the moisture, which really helps maintain the low humidity levels. This is particularly beneficial in hot and dry climate where high humidity can be uncomfortable. And then number two will be suitable for hot and dry climate. So the cooling process in the indirect evaporative cooling is more efficient in hot and dry environment, making well suitable for this type of climate. And then number three, you can know it's greater cooling capacities. So indirect evaporative cooling system can provide a greater cooling capacity compared to the direct type, allowing them to cool larger space more effectively. So normally data center will go with this indirect type. And then number four will be improve indoor air quality. So by not adding this moisture to the air, indirect evaporative cooling can help maintain better indoor air quality, reduce the risk of the mold and and then mode 2 growth. Okay, so there is still some cons for this indirect evaporative cooling. So high initial cost. So indirect evaporative cooling system generally will have a higher upfront cost due to you have more components such as heat exchangers and more complex for the designs. And number two will be the more complex design, the heat exchanger and additional component in an indirect evaporative cooling system, making the overall design more complex, which will lead to the higher maintenance requirements and potentially more frequently repairs. Okay, so let's talk about the direct evaporative cooling at the right side. So there are some pros for this simple design. You can see lower cost. Direct evaporative cooling systems has a simpler design, which typically result in a lower initial cost compared to the indirect evaporative cooling systems, and is suitable for hot and dry climate. So, like the indirect evaporative cooling systems, direct type is more effective in hot and dry climate where the evaporation process can efficiently cool the air. So that's a reason behind. And then the cause will be increases the humidity. So direct type adding the moisture to the air, which can lead to increased humidity levels, which can be the concerns or risk in areas where already have high humidity, as it can make indoor environment feel more uncomfortable for the personnel and limited cooling capacities. So you can know this the direct evaporative cooling system limited has a limited cooling capacity, which may not be suitable for the larger spaces or areas with higher cooling demand. And then, for example, may possible potential for microbial growth. So the added moisture in the air can create the environment is more conducive to the growth of the microorganisms such as bacteria and mold if the system is not properly maintained. So summary here, it's a recap. The choice between indirect and direct evaporative cooling will be depending on the specific climate conditions, desired humidity levels, cooling requirements, and budget constraints of the applications. I hope you enjoyed this videos. I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.